Good afternoon, guys. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. Hold on, guys. All right, guys. So today we're not going to speak anything about the crew. The crew. Okay. I'm just going to come in with a different topic that concerns me. That I had a very much so major concern. If you have any comments, you can leave it in the bottom of my comment box and let me know your opinion on it. We're going to talk about the safety and the trust of who you can trust your children with and trust around. Now, I've seen a story of a young lady, a little girl, who was missing 8 years ago. I don't know if it's safe to speak about this topic, but I'm going to speak of it anyway, but in my own words. Now, here's the thing. What you cannot do, guys, you cannot trust everyone around your children. You cannot trust everyone, you can't trust your children to be in the presence of everyone. Now, sometimes, they say that you may have someone in your family household that may have a mental problem, or someone in the family that may been through something with a family member or family member's friend, whom kept it hush hush and never spoke a word about it, because the child, the male or the female child, may have been threatened to be said to them, if you tell anyone, it could possibly be a family member, if you tell anyone in the family that this is going on and I did this to you, I guarantee you that you will never see any of your siblings again. Your brother, your sisters, your mother, or whatever. Or an outside member may come in and the child is being touched by the outside person, or your child is being left because you trusted a friend or you trusted a family member to watch over your child while you work, or you went somewhere, or you went on a trip or something for maybe a day or two, and something happens to the child. But the child is always told, this is our little secret. This is between me and you. I love you, so this has to be our little secret. No, 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 hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Touching someone's child, whether it be a female or a male child, touching someone's child, that's a no. It is a no. That is not a secret, okay? It is not a secret at all. You are not, under no circumstance, supposed to place your hands on a child. An adult is not supposed to place their hand on a child. Now, you may have been through something as a child growing up, and someone may have done this to you. And the child grows up with this crazy demonic demon within them to do what has been done to them. I've heard of a lot of cases in reference to these types of things. Do you trust your children around everyone? Hell no. Do you leave your child with anyone and everyone? Family member, friend, who you quote unquote thought that you could trust? Because even if you let your child go with a friend, even if you let your child go over to sleepovers, can you trust that child being in the midst of someone else's home at a sleepover? No, you cannot. Why? Because you don't know that child, your child that you sent over to that friend's house or that resident's house. Well, I meant to say that family member's house. You don't know if you can trust them or not. Okay? Oh, this air just drives me insane. Now, with that being said, okay, having a sleepover and inviting your child over to someone else's house, and you letting your child go to someone else's house. In that household of that child that you let go over to someone else's house, you don't know if that child and the other person's house has been touched by their own family members, or you don't know, sending your child over to that friend's house or that family member's house, if they've been touched, And growing up, they kept this in their heads for many, many years. And this is what makes children become very much so suicidal, you know. This is what makes kids crazy, you know what I mean? Because they kept this supposedly, quote unquote, secret within. That is not considered a secret. Now, for me, when my kids was growing up, let me tell you guys something. Anastasia GHIRADELLI'S world, I never did that. More so, I never even really left them with family members, okay? Now, the only family member that I did leave my children with because I had to work and survive and take care of my babies was my mother and my father. Were there other people around, other siblings around when my children were staying there, you know what I mean, in the course of the day, because I lived with my mother and my father, you know, for a very, very long time? No. It was only my mother and my father there. Did I allow my mother and my father to take my children in the presence of their friends? No. Because again, you don't know what is in these people's heads. You don't know what these people may have been through psychologically. You know what I mean? They may have been touched as a child growing up, and they kept this thing within them because they was threatened by the person and saying that if you reveal any of this that I did to you, you will not see your mother, you will not see your father, you will never see your family members again. So the child withholds that in for a very long time. But the child also goes through a psychological, mental thing holding this in. And then suddenly one day, the child, see, this is what gets me. Suddenly one day, the child has gotten so filled with holding this in, it started to mess with them mentally, psychologically. You understand? So within them, they probably grow up feeling, well, this has been done to me. It's okay for me to do it to somebody else's child. No, absolutely not. It is not okay to do this to another person's child. But beyond measure, because they've been through this, they probably feel as though, hey, you know, if they did this to me, then it's okay for me to do that to somebody else's child. Now, I'm going to tell you one incident. There's a friend of mine. I haven't seen him in very, 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 very long time. In years, I have not seen him. And this happened to him as a child growing up. Is he homosexual now? Yes, he is. Why? Because he was traumatized. He was traumatized by a family member who have did this to them repeatedly. And why didn't the child reveal this to the mother? Because the child was threatened. Okay? And the person that did this to the child was an uncle. It was an uncle, was the child's brother who did this to this child repeatedly. And the child kept this in them within a long time. And as this child got older and started going through mental issues, the mother didn't understand what was going on with her child. One day, and he told me this whole story, and I tell you no lie, guys. If the camera cut off, I'm going to do a second part. One day, the child was just so filled with everything that has been going on in his life. He sat down at the age of 13. This happened to him when he was 5 years old until the age of 12, I believe, going on into 13. He sat down at the table one day, and his mother was wondering what was wrong with my child. She wondered every time the uncle would come around, you know, the uncle always goes to him, hey, buddy, you know, so and so, so. But the boy was very much so intense. He was tense every time he came around him. Red flag. Didn't you see that, Mom? What were you doing that you could not take attention to your child from the age of 5 years old to almost 13 years old? And this child became a teen and was so filled with him and started doing crazy things. He tried to do this to someone else. The child that was molested from the age of 5 to almost 13 years old. He felt as though because this was done to him, he can do it to someone else. He said, Anastasia, I thought it was okay to do it because it was done to me. Absolutely not. I don't condone that, you know. But this thing has did a major mental psychological problem to this child till this day. Okay? Anyway, the child tried to do this, well, actually did this to someone else. You know? Okay, so imagine what that child went through. Imagine that child kept that a secret for years and years and years. Imagine if that child is traumatized or still living today and is a homosexual. I do not condone that. And I do not have anything against the, what do you call it, LGTB? You know, because I have friends that are, lesbians. I have friends that are or homosexuals that I grew up with. They're, just it's just a family thing that, when you're living in a neighborhood, you become family. But when you hear about things like this that happen to people's children, it is very much so beyond measure. Anyway, let's get back to the child that was 5 years old to almost 13 years old. It should have been a red flag. You should have seen signs that this man was doing this. What was you doing, Mom, that you were so busy that you didn't take heed to your child being molested by your brother? You get me, guys? So at the age of 13, one day he got so fulfilled. He just got so filled that he tried to commit suicide. He tried to take his own life, and the mother didn't understand what was going on. She noticed the girly tendencies, and she said, she asked him. The son said she asked him, you acting a little different. You know what I mean? Like, are you? Sorry, guys. Are you? You like boys? Are you gay? This, that, and the other. He said, Anastasia, I just bust out crying. I just bust out crying, And I said, well, did you reveal it to her? Why didn't you reveal this to her, when you were little? He said, I was very young. I was 5 years old. He said, I thought it was okay that he was touching me and feeling me, and he did what he did to me. But he entered this baby, guys. At the age of 5, he entered this baby. Mother, you didn't know that this baby was distorted from this man touching this child. Mother, you didn't notice that maybe the child was having problems going to the bathroom or some sort of a bleeding or something. You didn't notice this, Mom? Or were you out there on drugs and you just didn't give two shits about what happened to your child? So when he revealed this to his mother called him everything but a child of God. She said, you're lying. You're lying. You're just making up stories. You know what I mean? You're making up stories that is not true. And he went through this thing for many, many years. So he is psychologically, mentally fucked up in the head now. Now, I haven't seen him in the last 5 years. The very last time I seen him, he is what he is. He's a homosexual. Because of the trauma and what he's been through as a child growing up. 5 years old? 5 years old? Are you kidding me? So guys, you got to be careful who you trust your kids around. It could be a family member. It could be a so-called quote-unquote friend that you think is a friend of you. You got to be very careful. Okay? My friend is very much so traumatized, and I worry about him. And like I said, the last time I saw him was like about 5 years ago. He's like real girly now, and I still love him. I still love him. And I asked him if he's okay, how he's doing, how's everything going. And guys, you're not going to believe this. And no, you don't supposed to bring everything to social media. But because of the lifestyle he lives now or was living, not at the age of 5 to 13, but, became an homosexual, became, gay, he contracted the virus. When he told me that he had the virus, I couldn't do anything but just hug him. You know what I mean? Just give him my love and just say, I'm so sorry to hear that. How you feeling? He said, Miss Anastasia, I'm going to say Miss Anastasia because you guys already know my name. He said, I'm okay. I'm okay. He said, I made bad decisions in my life, but the decisions came from what had happened to me as a child growing up. Now, did the mother go to try to seek help for him, to take him to a psychiatrist, to get him, mentally reevaluated? No, because the mother was too busy out there doing her thing and just flopping from here to pillow to post and leaving her kids with whoever, whatever, friends, family members, or whatever. And this child was being traumatized at the age of 5 fucking years old. Now I'm getting upset because it shouldn't have had happened. You know what I mean? It should have not have happened. You know, if you got kids, you got to love up on your children. You got to watch your children. You got to be mindful, cautious, and careful who you trust your children around. You got to be mindful, cautious, and careful who you affiliate yourself first and foremost with. You know what I mean? And when he told me this, I was like hurt, because when he told me, he was like, Miss Martha, that's my name, guys. Miss Martha, he said, I'm doing okay. I'm taking my medicine, and, I'm still, dealing with the trauma of, what happened to me in my life. He said, I done tried to commit suicide. They tried to put me in a psychiatric ward and this, that, and the other. And I just prayed on it. He's a Christian. He said, I just kept praying on it. I just kept praying on it. I just kept praying on it. And I said, baby, I understand what you have been through mentally, physically. Okay? I understand what you have been through. And I asked him, when you told your mother this, how did your mother react to this? He said, my mother said I was a liar. She said, you're lying on my brother. Why didn't you tell me this when you were younger? He was 5 fucking years old when this boy was being molested by his uncle. What the fuck? How is a 5-year-old going to explain what is being done to him when the uncle threatened him and told him, if you shall reveal anything that I'm doing to you, you'll never see your family again. Or if you keep this as a secret between me and you, this is our little secret. Bitch, that's no secret. That is never a secret when an adult touch a child, whether it be a male or a female, by whatever, friend, relative, or whatever. That is not considered a fucking secret. That is considered psychotic, ludicrous, just overall fucking crazy. Mental revaluation. If that happened to you as a child growing up, you should have your mother should have sought mental revaluation for you, to get your head clear, to get you together. But because you didn't have mental psychiatric evaluation, as growing up, you did this to another child, which the uncle did this to my friend. You know what I mean? So now my friend, to God be the glory, and I'm praying that he's still alive and living, because I haven't seen him in 5 years. He looked good. He looks amazing, although he told me, he has the virus. But see, years ago, well, some time ago, they used to say that the virus can, snatch you up and take you out of here. Yeah, it can. And it can still do that, you know what I mean? But you can live with the virus now, because they have all sorts of medicine that you can take and let you live for a very long time. Because technically speaking, what we all going to do, we're all going to perish this world, whether it be through cancer, STDs, HIV, herpes, syphilis, gonorrhea, whatever the means may be. We are all numbered, and we are all going to perish this world, whether we choose to or not. And then there comes another generation, It floors me, because I thought about him today. I cannot reveal his name because I don't know who knows who. So I just wanted to speak on that topic today. Be mindful, cautious, and careful who you affiliate yourself around. Be mindful, cautious, and careful who you trust your kids around. You know what I mean? Don't leave your children with every damn chick or child anywhere and everywhere. Don't do that, because that child can be traumatized and can be going through something that you would never least expected that your friend or your relative may do. Now, when I seen this story today that happened 8 years ago to this little girl, whom mother trusted a fucking janitor with her, because they was homeless. They was living in a homeless shelter. The mother trusted us. I really personally think that the lady had mental issues. She trusted this man. I don't know if the homeless lady was living in the shelter with her children, trusted the janitor to take the child home to live with him and his wife, or whatever the means may be. But they show the child and the man walking through some sort of a hotel or motel or whatever, through the shelter or something. Little girl with baggages and shit in her hand. Suddenly the baby disappeared. How the hell you don't know your child is missing for what, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 fucking days? You don't know your child is missing. Come on now. Something ain't the fuck right. Something ain't right. And then you get on here on the camera and you show no remorse, no tears, no nothing. Something is wrong with the mother. Psychiatric evaluation. Something is clearly wrong with the mother. You don't know your baby is missing for 15, 16, 17, 18 fucking days? You don't know? Come on now. And then the gentleman, they said, you know, I assume, you know, he raped the baby. He raped her. He killed her. You know what I mean? You got to be careful, guys, because the ones that you know, the ones that you know you, is the ones that looks and peep out at your children. They watch your children when you don't even expect them to be watching your children. They got their eyes on your children when you least expect it to be that person that you know. They got their eyes on your fucking kids. Be mindful, be cautious, be careful. Watch your surroundings. Watch who you affiliate yourself with. Watch who you leave your children with. Again, as I stated, when my babies was growing up, where I went, my motherfucking babies went. My kids was like, my son and my daughter was like a fucking button on my shirt. Where I went, my kids went. Only one I left on what was with my mother and my father. And my mother and my father was old as dirt then. You understand what I'm saying? They were old as dirt then, you know? And when I seen this topic, this story, not a topic, when I seen this story that happened 8 years ago to this baby, that thing made me cry. They found the baby. They also found the man that did this to this baby. He committed suicide.